Joker, Folie, Deux, the direct sequel of the massively popular 2019 movie Joker, which made huge impact, may not just live up to the hype. Let us first have a quick beginning-to-end recap of the movie. Joker, Folie, Deux begins with an animated montage of the Joker being humiliated and bullied by society and the cops. Then we move to the actual movie. It takes place inside a correctional facility. The scene is chaotic. The cops are chatting and opening up the cells. Arthur Fleck, the Joker, is in one of the cells. He dresses up, and is being led to the daily morning checkups by the cops. All of them laughs at him and asks if he has any jokes for them. The title card is shown and then we are introduced to Lee Quinn at a prayer with other inmates. Their eyes meet, and Lee rushes out and shows her respect for him. Arthur goes on to meet his lawyer, Marianne Stewart, who has set up a meeting for Arthur with Dr. Betty. The doctor asks about the train killings, Murray, and asks what he remembers. Arthur says that he only recalls the music. She asks if he hears his mother's voice often and if this Joker personality has come out more frequently after his mother's death. This awakens inside Joker's mind. The cops constantly bully him. They ask him if he thinks he is a hero because the film made about him has become quite famous, which we saw at the beginning of the film. The next morning, chaos begins again. Arthur has joined the prayer. He gets introduced to Lee and they further share more of each other. Joker says he has killed 5 people. Lee says that she has set fire to her parents' house. Joker reveals that it is not 5 but he has killed 6 people. Nobody knows it but he has killed his mother. Lee sees that the TV movie about him is great and shares some of her childhood traumas. She says that when he saw him on TV she didn't feel alone anymore. They start singing. TV news about Arthur shows that people demand the death penalty for him. While someone asks if he is scared, Arthur sings about how happy he is since he is in love. A movie is being screened at the prison. Arthur is sitting beside Lee, who says that they should escape. After saying so, Lee gets up and sets the room on fire while everyone is busy watching the movie. Everyone panics and runs, whereas Arthur and Lee kiss each other. They start dancing and run to escape but are captured and Arthur is thrown in solitary confinement, but he keeps laughing. Arthur dreams of Lee and when he opens his eyes he sees her there. She says that a prison guard has let her in. She says that she will go home and hope to see him out of jail soon. They eventually kiss and have sex. Back with his lawyer again, Arthur is told that he is not the Joker but Arthur. He is not in his right mind and forcefully kisses his lawyer. At a live interview, Arthur is asked about Murray and the question of what was going on in his mind during the time. Joker says that he was not thinking right. He blacked out and he was suicidal back then. However, the interviewer does not listen to him and tries to contradict, making him confess his evil nature. He asks if he deserves to die. Arthur now starts screaming, claiming that none of them really care about that. They should talk about how his mental state is. Instead, they just want to show him as a vicious criminal. Arthur adds that he is not alone anymore. He mentions Lee, who is popularly known as Harley Quinn, as the interviewer shows. Lee is watching the interview on live television. She breaks the glass, steals a television set, and walks away. Joker is on his way to the trial. People crowd around in his support. Inside the courtroom, enters the judge and then the jury members. Arthur is busy with finding Lee. She enters the court dancing and singing. The first witness claims Arthur is not psychotic but rather simply a disturbed human being. His lawyer contradicts how he is certain that he is not psychotic since the person has only talked to less than a couple of hours. Next, Arthur's diary is read, and his jokes and talk of his past lover all are read in the courtroom. In the end, Lee barges into the lawyer and claims that he is not sick and rather he is perfect. Arthur says that Lee is looking out for him, but his lawyer takes him out of his reverie. She says that Lee is lying. She went to grad school for psychiatry, and she has only been a volunteer here. Arthur's trust is broken, and in an imaginary sequence, he sees Lee shooting him in the stomach. Fleck is in prison and he has got a visitor. It's Lee. Arthur asks her if she lied to him. Lee confesses the truth without hesitation. She only wanted to meet him, and she genuinely wanted him to like her. She also says that she is pregnant. Back at the court, we are met with Sophie, with whom Arthur had an imaginary relationship. She testifies against Arthur. Arthur's lawyer opposes and talks of his mother, who had often pitied Arthur. Joker has an imaginary sequence again where he kills everyone in the courtroom. He stands up and screams that he will fire his lawyer and represent himself from now on. Chaos breaks in and he is taken away. Lee meets him in the cell and congratulates him. People celebrate him at the prison. He stands up in the table, while the situation does not remain easy there either. Again in court, he has dressed himself up as the Joker and the judge is it's okay by law. Gary Paddles is called as a witness who also testifies against him. He complains that he trusted him and he made him scared for life. In the end, when the judge asks Arthur to claim his defense, he refuses to do so. Back to the prison, the cops take him in the bathroom forcefully, beats him, and rape him. He has washed off his makeup as well. While an inmate tries to protest, he is strangled to death by Jackie, the cop. Joker is up for his final statement in the court, but he can't say anything for some time. When he speaks, he says that he cannot do it anymore. It has all been a fantasy. There is no Joker and he has always been Arthur. He confesses about the killings, including his mother's. Hearing all that, Lee walks out of the court, and with her few others too. The jury finds him guilty. Arthur keeps on laughing and someone attacks him. Eventually, the entire courtroom blows up. Arthur wakes up. Everything is shattered around and a few are dead. He walks out. A random guy dressed as Joker recognizes him and takes him out. He takes him in his car, but as soon as it stops in the traffic, Arthur walks out and runs. He comes across Lee, but she doesn't take him anymore and leaves. Arthur gives up and is taken by the police again. Back to prison. Everyone is watching cartoons and laughing. A cop tells Arthur that someone has come to meet him. As he walks outside, someone calls from behind and tells him a joke. As soon as the joke ends, he stabs him several times and Arthur falls down on the ground singing, "I want a son like me who will take my place." So, what does all of these add up to? Foremost, the film has barely any memorable moments like the first film. It has a pretty bad pace with nothing new to say. Moreover, the film is so terribly unbelievable that a lot of it just doesn't make any sense. The entire character of Lee being in prison and interacting with a person who killed 6 people so casually, without being contradicted or arrested herself, is a bit idiotic. The courtroom drama is also very unoriginal. While the movie ends with the promise that the real Joker as we know him, the one to fight with Batman, might just be his son, the film rests on nothing much important. Lady Gaga's facial expression and her performance are one of the only things about this movie that works. It fails to send any important messages and has been unable to provide a good sound like the previous film. The musical trope works a little bit, but not quite. The visuals are pretty fine in providing the grotesque nature the film requires. Overall, Joker Folie à Deux has been a simple trip and it will not at all leave much of an effect on the viewer's mind.